They have to figure out what it is in their life they feel passionate about. Very interesting thing is that many people don't know that. They have no idea what is it in life I feel passionate about. So they have to start doing some exercise, paper and pencil exercises, to surface what it is that's going on inside of them and bring it to the level of their consciousness. So there are exercises in the back of what covers your parachute that precisely are designed to help them go step by step to build up a picture of the career they most want to go to and perhaps have been dying to go to for years, but they've never formed complete thoughts about that. Generally speaking, the answer is large companies tend to see it as a liability. Very smaller companies with 25 or less employees tend to see it as a definite asset. So I always advise people to go after companies that have a smaller number of employees than to go after the big boys everyone has heard of and so on. They're much more likely to run into discrimination. Companies are started in bad times as well as in good. If there's a need, there are 138 million people who have work right now. It's not like everyone in the country is out of work. 138 million people have work. They have money because they're paid a salary. They need certain things. If you correctly match what it is you feel you'd love to do as your own company to what it is they need and are willing to spend money for, you can start a business in bad times and tough times as well as you can in good times. The answer is, if you start out by putting a job title on yourself, like journalist, you're probably going to have a rough time. You have to break down, and that's the purpose of the exercises in the back of parachute. You have to break down what it is you're looking for in terms of its component parts rather than giving it a title, because there may be other things you could do that would give you the same skill set and demand the same experience as journalists would, but in categories or in areas where you would never dream of until you start to do your research. So the first thing is strip off the title, the job title that you give yourself, and go looking to see what it is that people with your skills, and particularly the skills you love to use, are doing. First of all, I found a statistic early on. There was one job offered and accepted out there in the job market for every 1,470 resumes that float around out there. In the absence of my finding a contact, a mutual friend that knows them where I want to go and be interviewed, and me, in the absence of finding such a person, I'm going to make a piece of paper, I'm going to send it to the place where I'd like to be interviewed, and I'm going to hope if they read that resume, they will ask me to come in for the interview. That is the only purpose of a resume. So you excise out of it anything that you want to talk about later, but it's not germane to the task of the resume, which is to get you invited in for an interview. You can get around it by finding a contact, a mutual friend that knows them and knows you, and that task, which has existed for decades and decades, has become much easier now with one site above all else. It's LinkedIn, because LinkedIn has been tuned up like a fine violin so that now you can learn the history of people, you can learn who it is you know that works there that you didn't even know worked there. You can find that link that will open the door for you to get in and get around this silly rule. Look first at your resume, because it may be you're listing all the things you're doing and you intimidate them to death before they ever see you. So you want to tone the resume down so it's just enough to intrigue them to ask you to come in for the interview. Generally speaking, if you're over 57, let us say, and you're having this impression that you're not being taken seriously, you need to re-examine your job hunting strategies. That's why Parachute has been such a popular book over the years, not because it's that good, but because it isn't taught in schools. So you have to read a book to catch up and be doing job hunting processes and techniques that belong to the 21st century and not to the 20th century. Get involved in volunteering, trying to help people that are worse off than you are. Yes. There are all kinds of websites to give you clues. You put in your zip code and it'll give you all kinds of leads as the people that want help, volunteers and so on. You need to take your attention off yourself while you're waiting for things to turn better and that sort of thing. While you're waiting to find your passion, find ways to show compassion.